Welcome to Crime in the City, where we tell the story from the streets to the courthouse. I'm Yvonne Taylor, former judge, prosecutor, criminal defense attorney, civil litigator, and adjunct law professor. I'm here with my podcast bestie, Natasha Sinclair. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, Yvonne. I'm Natasha Sinclair, former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney. For over 20 years, I've practiced law in New York and Texas. Every Tuesday, we'll take a deep dive into cases that are unbelievable.
We'll take a look at the evidence, break down the legal strategies, and explore the unanswered questions. Okay, Natasha, let's get into it.
Yvonne, what city are you taking us to today?
Well, Natasha, we are going to the great state of Delaware and to Wilmington, Delaware, to be specific.
Okay.
We are going to talk about a child custody case that went terribly wrong. Now, Natasha, you know how emotions flare when it comes to divorce, and when you factor in children, it just escalates everything to another level.
Absolutely.
So David Matusewicz was married to Christine Belford. They had 3 children, and they got a divorce in 2006. Mm-hmm. Well, the divorce led to a custody dispute. So during the custody dispute, David accused Christine of being an unfit mother. He said that she suffered from mental illness and all kinds of mental health disorders. So in 2007, the court ordered Christine to have a psychological evaluation.
Okay.
After the psychological evaluation, the court ordered joint custody of the children.
Okay, that's pretty typical.
It is.
Yep.
And in most cases, we know that it is best for the children to have a relationship with both parents, no matter how strained the relationship is between the parents.
Right.
Well, David had a very close relationship with his parents. His parents, Lenore and Thomas, right? His father's name was Thomas. His mother's name was Lenore. Close relationship it sounds innocent, but as you'll see as we talk about this more, it was a very bizarre relationship. So in 2007, even though David has joint custody of his children, he and his mother decide that they don't want Christine to have anything to do with the children.
Okay, no.
So, Natasha, David and his mother kidnap the children and leave for Nicaragua.
Okay, no.
So they have turned a joint custody situation into a kidnapping, and not just a kidnapping. This is an international kidnapping. So we have laws in the U.S. about taking children out of the country, right? Especially when there's a custody dispute or even custody arrangement.
Yes, we do. Every day, children in the United States are wrongfully removed from the U.S. and retained outside of the U.S. in violation of parental rights. In 1993, Yvonne, Congress passed the International Parental Kidnapping Crime Act, which made it a federal crime. Okay, so don't do that.
Right. So if you have a custody agreement through the court, you cannot take your children out of the country without approval from the other spouse or the other custodial parent, as it's called. Even if it's not a parent, it may be an aunt, uncle, even a friend.
Right. You can't really even remove them out of that jurisdiction.
Right. When you say jurisdiction, you mean even
that
the
state. Yeah.
Right.
You sometimes, depending on how big your state is, you may not be able to move them. But so far, you just can't alienate the other parent because you feel like it. You got a better job, a new life, a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend, whatever the situation may be.
Or because you just don't even like the other parent.
Right.
Because that seems to be the case
silly,
in this case.
It's not about you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So again, 2007, David and his mother, Lenore, kidnap the children, flee to Nicaragua. Well, the federal government is not here for that. So federal agents are looking for the kids. So finally, in 2009, the feds find David and his mother and the children, find them in Nicaragua, and they're living in sort of a mobile home park.
Oh, my.
So what do? They arrest David and his mother, and they bring the children back and give them to Christine, their mom.
Right. I know that's right.
Right. So
That's how, Yvonne, wait a minute. That's how you lose custody, right? That's how you lose it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So David is now charged, and his mother are now charged with kidnapping, because essentially that's what they did.
That is exactly what they did.
Yep. So David, who's already accused his now ex-wife, Christine, of having mental illness, he now accuses her of neglect and sexual and physical abuse of the children.
No.
Now, so far, there's been no evidence of that, just his claims, right?
Right.
So, okay, he gets sentenced to 48 months in prison for this kidnapping, and also there were some bank fraud charges in there somewhere. Now, Natasha, you know how defendants get when they're in prison. They have a lot of time on their hands, right?
True.
So he starts a harassment campaign against his ex-wife, Christine.
From prison?
From prison, yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing he does is he writes this letter, and the courts call this letter the No More Mr. Nice Guy letter. So he writes a letter to his sister, Amy, and he basically tells Amy, listen, Amy, I need your help. I want to start a campaign to discredit Christine. So he says, I want you to help me just basically disparage her name. He also is very upset with the family court and their version in Delaware of family court services.
Okay.
He's upset with them because now there's a whole issue about him losing custody of the children and him not being able to have them in the first
how
place.
did you think you were going to retain custody after kidnapping?
I know.
No, really, what good parent does that? You're going to take the kids to Nicaragua
Right.
and deprive them of their mother
Right.
because this is what you want to do.
Exactly.
And you upset that somebody checked your behavior.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
So now he tells his sister he wants her to help him get the children evaluated for sexual abuse.
Stop.
Yeah, he does.
There's something wrong with him.
Yep.
Oh, he's not well.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he wants his sister to help him contact the media. He wants this whole thing.
The media?
Yes, well publicized.
Okay.
And he actually says in this letter that he sends to his sister that he wants to slander her.
Okay.
So now his sister and his mom are like on board for all of this behavior.
Do they know that this is just not true? Like, this couldn't have been going on. She couldn't have molested or assaulted the kids sexually because they had the kids. The kids were kept away from her.
Right.
So they had to know, right, that this is just nonsense.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And plus,
All right.
she's already had a psychological evaluation.
But they don't believe anything the court says.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No.
we're going to get to that.
We're going to
part,
go with
too.
him.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And we're going to get to this.
They're circling the wagons.
Right. I don't believe anything that comes up in the court system. So, okay. His sister, Amy, and his mom decide to start making complaints to the Division of Youth and Family Services in Delaware.
Okay.
And then what they start doing, they start making all of these anonymous complaints. And then they start making complaints against the agency because they're saying the agency will not investigate these allegations of abuse. Then, Natasha, they next level it. The grandmother, Lenore, his mother, sets up a website, and the website is called A Grandmother's Impossible Choice.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's crazy. And then the grandmother on her website, she starts talking about all of these sexual and physical abuse claims that she's waging against her ex-daughter-in-law. She starts asking for pro bono legal representation.
No, thank you.
Right.
Pro bono, basically For the good of the public. Lawyers working for free for the good.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No, you will not use my law degree.
Exactly.
That's outrageous. I mean, really, it's outrageous.
I know. I mean, they went so far as to set up a website, but wait, there's more. So they're not getting the kind of traction and attention they want from the website. So his sister, starts uploading YouTube videos,
Oh, my.
making all of these allegations against Christine, the mother.
Wow. Yvonne, how old are these kids? You can't put this stuff out there in the public domain like that and expect the kids never to see it. I mean, really?
Exactly.
Crazy.
I think that's the thing people forget. The internet is forever.
Yes. Yep.
It is forever. And someone is bound to dig deep, or even accidentally stumble upon something about your children or their lives or their parents that the children have to then deal with.
Yep.
So the sister is uploading all of this stuff to YouTube. There's some recordings because during all the custody dispute, they had some investigators involved in it. And then there was some polygraph test results that the sister had posted as well. So it just really started to spiral even more out of control because not only were they using technology, the new systems of YouTube and websites, they were actually mailing letters to the mother's neighbors, her employer, her church community members. And get this, Natasha, speaking of the children, they were actually sending letters to the children's school.
Okay. No. This is ridiculous. That poor woman, Christine.
I know. My God.
It's just crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, and they're sending all these letters asking for people to help
Help
them.
do what? Help do what exactly?
That's the crazy part.
Really, people.
Help us prove these abuse allegations.
Excuse me?
Yeah, just crazy.
The people at the church are going to help you prove it.
Right, prove these lies.
At the kids' school.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So, David is in prison. While he's in prison, his ex-wife, Christine, files to terminate his parental rights based on all of this BS that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So family court has a hearing, and of course, based on all of these things, they terminate his parental rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. The court says, nope, there has been no evidence of abuse, no credible evidence of abuse. And the court, they just blasted him. It was a whole 42-page opinion that the court wrote. And they talked about he showed no remorse for kidnapping the children, just none of the things. So while he's still in prison, while David's in prison, one of his friends reaches out to him, right?
Okay.
And her name is Cindy. So she's a friend, former girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. So she tells him, look, basically, I'll help you out if you want to use my Facebook page and use my password and all this stuff. How can I be of service to you, sir?
Who raised these people? What?
Exactly.
I'm literally godsmacked. How does another woman do that to another woman?
Right.
How do you just come along? Really?
Right. It's just unspeakable, unbelievable. So David reaches out to his ex-wife, and in spite of all that they have put her through, she makes some effort to keep him in their children's lives. So she sends him this letter and tells him that when our children speak of you, they still love you. They still love you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about the resilience of children. So they were school age. They were reading.
Exactly. And
probably
also,
knew how to get on the internet.
Right. And not only the resilience of children, sort of the the grace of mothers
Yep.
and women. You know, we can
Of that
be,
mother, of Christine, for sure.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Because we
right.
got some coming up later in the season. Okay.
Right, some different kind of mamas, right?
Right.
So Christine she's gracious. She's trying to keep him engaged with his children. But, you know, it just continues to go downhill, Natasha. Okay, so Christine, she's doing all this she can do. But the mother-in-law, Lenore, and her husband, who we've really yet to talk about, David's father, his name is Thomas, they are just trying to make Christine's life difficult. They tell her, look, we need to drop off some things or pick up some things from your house that belong to our family. They show up with a private investigator who's trying to take pictures of her house and asking this private investigator to take pictures of the cars parked in the driveway. Who are these people that she's exposing my grandchildren to?
Okay.
So at this point, Christine is just like, okay, I'm going to have to cut all ties with you all. You all just,
it's too much. It's
too
over
much.
the top. Get in the comments. I want to hear the people on this one, Yvonne. Get in the comments and let us know how you would handle this.
Right.
Please. I am so curious to know, like, is there something wrong with me that this is just not okay?
Exactly.
Like, I'm never letting these people come to my house or know where I live, period.
Right. Grandparents or not.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Right. So, okay. David has now served his time and he's being released to a halfway house.
Oh, my God.
Yes, in Texas. Okay, so he is behind on child support.
Of course he is.
Yeah, because he's been in prison. So the court's going to have a hearing on his child support, right? So since he's in Texas, children are in Delaware. The whole case really centers around Delaware. He has to have permission because he's now on parole.
Right.
I mean, we know how that works,
Yeah.
right?
Parole comes after prison.
Right. And then you have to have the parole officer has to grant you permission to leave
to
the
travel
state.
the state, know where you're going, how long. Those are the conditions of your release.
Exactly. So David files this petition to reduce his child support, and he's got to get from Texas to Delaware for a hearing. Now, he does not tell his parole officer that he can do this hearing virtually.
Right, remotely. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean because I'm wondering the same thing. I'm like, no, you don't have to go. Just send us your income, sir.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can figure it out because we need the documents. You're not going to just flap your lips and tell us how much you are or are not making. We want documentation. That's how it's done.
Exactly. So he convinces his parole officer that he has to go to Delaware for the hearing.
Okay.
So the conditions of his travel are that he has to go by himself. He has to report when he arrives, tell us when you're going to leave, the whole thing, right?
Standard conditions.
Exactly. Now, again, he is supposed to be traveling by himself. However, his parents drive in a car behind him. So, Natasha, let me ask you this. Former prosecutor, former criminal defense attorney, a condition of my travel is that I have to go by myself. I'm in the car by myself. My parents are driving behind me. Am I technically by myself?
No.
Have I violated my terms and conditions?
It depends. I hate to give this lawyerly answer, but I'm going to say it depends on how strictly they construe the terms of your conditions. And I think, seriously, knowing the background of his family and their harassment campaign, I think it's going to be construed very strictly. You are with your parents, sir. They're as good as in the car. Okay?
Exactly.
That's what I truly think.
Exactly.
That's my legal analysis on that, Yvonne.
And plus, you know, as a defendant, why would you risk being rearrested? Just take your behind to the hearing by yourself. Let your parents go by themselves. Don't give the system any reason to rearrest you.
Right, but this was obviously about something else Because we know from the beginning, like you said, he didn't have to go there in person,
Exactly.
right? He misled the parole officer. And for certain, sir, your parents were not required to drive behind you from Texas to Delaware. I mean, that's quite a drive.
Exactly. Okay, so the whole family take this drive to Delaware, but they have to make some stops on the way. But they finally get to Delaware, and the hearing is set for February 2013, right? February 11th, 2013. Okay, so the hearing is set for 8 o'clock in the morning on February 11th, 2013. So David and his father drive to a hotel parking garage near the courthouse. They walk over to the courthouse, and they're in the courthouse lobby, right?
Mm-hmm.
So David is in the security screening line,
Okay.
and his father is in the lobby just sort of moving about, and he and David are talking back and forth.
Now, wait, Yvonne, when you say the screening line, you mean coming through the metal detectors?
Right. They're in the security line.
Okay.
You know, take off your shoes. Put
Right.
your
Like at
purse
the airport.
right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got you. I just want to make sure, different courthouses are set up differently, even though I would hope that all of them have metal detectors at this point.
Oh, exactly. And after we talk about what happened, we'll see the need for that. They're talking to each other back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So finally, Thomas asks David for the keys. So David gives his dad the keys. David goes on through the security line and goes on to what we assume to be the hearing. He's gone up to the hearing, right?
Okay.
But the dad stays in the lobby. Okay, now this is where things get way out of hand. Christine, the mother, and her girlfriend are walking into the lobby.
Okay.
Thomas, the father, the grandfather, the ex-father-in-law, turns and shoots and kills Christine and her friend as they're coming into the courthouse.
Oh,
All hell breaks loose.
Oh, yes, absolutely it does. I mean, this is the courthouse. This is the one place she should have been safe.
Right. But I find this interesting. Right after the shooting, they arrested David. Why would they do that? Like, put on your prosecutor's hat. What has David done?
Well, he did come to the courthouse, okay? He did come to the courthouse. Maybe they know about the acrimony. I'm sure he's been writing letters. You said he was accusing the wife of all kinds of stuff, right? Perhaps Wilmington isn't the largest city in the world, right? So they have some idea of who he is, who the players are. I'm just putting it out there. And in different jurisdictions, Yvonne, like my hometown, New York City, the police can charge you like that. They can charge you like that with a snap of a finger with whatever they want to. And then it's for the prosecutors to figure out later what's the appropriate charge. So that's what I'm thinking. And they arrested him because you caused mayhem and murder, sir, at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going.
Yeah. And I can see them detaining him.
Oh, no.
Because this is his family.
They even look, I mean, the courthouse?
Yeah, the courthouse.
People. That's got to
courthouse.
be the absolute worst place to try to get away with murder. Literally.
Absolutely. So David has this folder on him, and it contains a bunch of stuff, his pay stubs, all the stuff that he should have for the hearing, right? But then it has some weird stuff in this folder.
Because he's weird.
Yeah. His father's discharge papers.
Discharge papers?
Yeah, just weird stuff like that.
Discharge from what?
From the military. His father's former military.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So then they went, of course, after the shooting, they go and search the father's car. And he has all of this weird stuff in his car as well. He has this whole travel bag. And in the bag, he's got some clothes. handcuffs, ammunition, a knife, bulletproof vest, a cattle prod,
What?
and some binoculars.
Okay, so they have been planning this since they got the court date.
There you go.
This is why his parole officer said, go by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah, they knew.
They knew.
They knew that this was a...
So sad, though. The one place, really, I mean, that's our workplace, Yvonne.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right.
That's really, through all the cases we've tried, that's the one place where truly I've always felt safe.
That's true, Natasha. That's true.
You
That's
know?
true. And also, Natasha, when they looked through the father's belongings, he had a suicide note in there.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, back at his Texas house.
Oh,
When
okay.
'cause
Okay.
Of course, you know, the investigation moved from Delaware to tracking all the stops that they had made and then back to the house in Texas. And he had left the suicide note because he had left some information for Amy, the sister, remember?
Right.
The sister who
Right. You was
set
helping
up-
out.
right,
Yeah,
helping
yeah,
out.
Helping out.
Yeah. So he had written this whole letter and
So wait, Yvonne, I'm thinking maybe, I mean, you said they had a cattle prod. They were just going to kidnap her, right?
Natasha,
Maybe that's all David kind of agreed to, and he didn't know that his dad was going to kill himself in the suicide part. I don't know.
No.
Get in the comments. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, no.
Am I overthinking this?
I think so. I think David was in on it all. I think he
To
was in on it.
kill her?
I think so. Because David was
Wow.
psycho as
No,
well.
no, right. He wasn't well. He
Yeah.
wasn't. He
Yeah.
wasn't.
So Thomas, the dad, had also, as I said, he had the suicide note. And in the suicide note, he had said all of this stuff, like he had left a storage key. He told Amy, his daughter,
daughter,
right, that there's a locker. And in the locker, you're going to find my guns and don't ever sell them. And when the government takes your grandchildren away, it ceases to be your government.
Mm.
So he had
Okay.
some issues.
But do you think David would sacrifice his father to get back at Christine? Was
Good
he
question.
that far gone?
Good
Get in the
question.
comments. Let us know your thoughts on that.
Good question. Good question. Now, here's my question. You're talking about getting in the comments, Natasha. So David, his mother, and his sister ended up being charged with conspiracy and stalking.
Yeah. They were doing the most. Oh, yes. When you look back at this case as a prosecutor, you're going all in. Give me everybody. They have shot up the courthouse, Yvonne, our workplace.
Yeah, I know. And well, let me just be clear. They were charged with these offenses and with the intent to commit murder, to cause harm, to cause death.
Yeah.
And that their behavior resulted.
In death. Yeah, no, I get you. I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
So the jury, it was a 5-week trial. The jury convicted them of conspiracy and stalking and found that the stalking offenses resulted in death.
They did. They absolutely did.
Okay. Natasha.
What? Don't do the appeal thing on me, Yvonne. Don't do it.
Well, before we even get
No.
there, of course, you know they did appeal. They got sentenced to life, but I will say
Okay. That's appropriate.
that was appropriate. But okay, wait. Before I say that was appropriate, they didn't pull the trigger.
They did enough to the woman, and they knew.
But-
A cattle prod, Yvonne.
But they didn't
What-
use it. So should they have been sentenced to life?
Well,
I mean, Thomas, the
Yes.
father,
yes.
he
Yes.
killed himself. But
Look at Yvonne. He did this while on parole.
no. But Natasha, David was harassing her. Yes. But-
Yvonne, he took his father with him in violation of his parole conditions. They knew what they were going to do. Okay, whether you believe he was going to kill her and sacrifice his father or just kidnap her with a cattle prod, okay, he was doing all of that while on parole. There is no other sentence, in my opinion. This man is dangerous. He killed at our workplace, Yvonne.
Wait, no, Natasha. Thomas, the father did.
Okay.
David was a co-conspirator.
Classic Yvonne.
I'm just
I think
asking
it's
the question.
she's
I'm just asking the question.
You
Okay,
see how she
now
does
let me
that?
get clear on my question. Thomas, the father, killed the mother and her friend. David, the ex-husband, the parent of the children, and his sister harassed. Yes, they did. I agree. Check that box.
Mm-hmm.
They stalked. Check that box. But was their intent to do all of this so that she would be killed? Or was it a direct, was their behavior so outrageous that
we call it reckless.
Reckless.
Okay.
Correct.
Clearly indifferent to human life. Like, I don't get. They're going to use a cattle prod on the woman. And remember, this is the same man and his mother that kidnapped the kids. Okay. They don't care about Christine. They wanted her out of the picture. For them, to them, death is okay, Yvonne. It is.
So this should have resulted
and the
in
nerve
a life
of her.
sentence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need some help. So.
All right, Yvonne, you need some help. All right, get in the comments and give Yvonne some help, please. Please. I don't know. She needs to rethink this one. This is unlike Yvonne. She normally, she's very, her, she's very law and order. I know her as a former prosecutor. I don't know what's happening right now. I think maybe she's a little bit in her head. All right, Yvonne, let me give you one last chance. What's your verdict?
So my verdict is, guilty of stalking for sure.
Okay.
Guilty of reckless behavior, but life in prison, that seems extreme to me.
Okay. It doesn't to me. I'm absolutely okay with life. And I also like the part that I read that you just slipped to me. Yvonne slipped me some of her research. Lenore, the mother, was sentenced at her hospital bed to life. Now, that's cold-blooded, Judge. They've had enough of you because you know why? The courthouse is sacred from killing. Okay, that's where you don't do that. You want to act like a murderer there, you'll be treated like one. Okay?
This case represented an escalation of conduct by the Matuzowicz family against Christine Belford and her children over a number of years. That conduct absolutely suffocated Christine Belford, and she fought back. She actively resisted them, and for that, she was killed in the Newcastle County Courthouse. This trial represented an extension of Christine Belford's fight. It represented the bravery and courage of her children who came into this courtroom and testified on her behalf. It represented the very best, I think, of law enforcement and what our system of justice can do in situations of domestic violence. This case flows from the Violence Against Women's Act, an act that was created by then Senator Joe Biden, and we have now taken this act to its farthest point in terms of cyber stalking law that's embedded in that act, and the fact that the jury has now found that the defendants in this case, their conduct resulted in the death of Christine Belford. The speech that was engaged in this particular case had a criminal intent. You cannot hide behind the First Amendment if the things that you are saying have a criminal intent. That is not a defense.
Given that this was a federal case, do you think that it might help Silicon Valley kind of open behind that curtain to give more access to the government and what people are doing online?
I don't know that right now. I know that there's always going to be a fine balance between what the government wants, what people in terms of their liberty are willing to give up. But certainly when it comes to protecting people, the government has an obligation, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI has an obligation to make sure that everyone's complying with the law and that people are just safe. And that whether it's an adult or a child that's on the internet, that's using Facebook, that these tools are being used appropriately by everybody else.
Find us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a comment on Instagram or Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Natasha Sinclair.
And I'm Yvonne Taylor.